Hi, I'm back, and I actually don't have a creative video to post for you all this week. I really had hoped to, and it is not for lack of trying. I actually spent the last week trying a couple of different things and just have not had very much success with it. So I really felt like I should post this part of the journey because this was a really frustrating week for me. I didn't get anything done that I wanted to get done, and I put a lot of energy and effort into it and just didn't really get anything out of it. And I thought that this is probably something that lots of new filmmakers experience. So I thought I'd post it and share this, and maybe somebody out in the future someday will watch this and get some use out of it. And just know that, hey, you're not alone. We all go through this, and learning this is hard. It's not an easy thing to pick up. But you put in the hours, and I think you get better. And that's the story that I'm trying to tell here. So let's talk about the things that I did try this week that just really didn't come together for me. I tried to do a product shoot. I tried a few different products, a number of different lighting setups, different lenses, different setups for the lens, which really took me back into this great YouTube community where I learned a lot of different ways to use my lenses, use the gear that I had. But at the end of the day, I just clearly need more practice with this. I didn't even get anything that was good enough to upload and post to show you. So unfortunately, it really just was not a very successful week for me. But I'll keep trying and see if I can get a little bit better at that. One nice thing that happened, that came out of it is this great YouTube community. You know, you dive down that rabbit hole of how do you do a product shoot, and it turns out there's just countless tutorials and different people showing the different tricks that they use and different things that they try in order to get some really great product shoots from really simple into some really fancy and complex things. Daniel Schiffer is really great. If you haven't checked out his channel, I highly recommend it. He does some really, really cool stuff. And I feel like I'm learning a lot and really just picking up just an extra little tip every time I watch one of his videos. So the second thing that I tried was I figured the product shoot's not working out, and so I'll shift over to something else that I just enjoy that's fun, getting into After Effects and just trying some different effects. I have some creative work that I want to do that I just don't really have the skill level to execute on yet, so I've sort of been building on my skill levels with that. So Cinecom.net is another really great channel I highly recommend. They posted a tutorial on how to do a ghost effect, like a ghost leaving your body effect. And that's something that I kind of wanted to learn how to do anyway. So I figured, all right, well, I've been eyeballing this tutorial for a few days now. I'll dive into that and see if maybe I can get something out of that where I can learn and grow my skills. It turns out my computer really just could not handle that effect. There were too many layers, and I'm working on kind of an older computer, so it really is just not able to handle it. So I ran into a little bit of a gear issue there, but I was able to get most of the way through the tutorial, actually working through it, and the effect came out okay. It's just unfinished, so I'm not posting it yet until I can get it to get a little bit more finished. But at the end of the day, I just found myself feeling really frustrated, and I felt like that's what I wanted to share with maybe future viewers out there someday who might be trying to learn filmmaking and going through some of this as well. I started to have a lot of that negative self-talk and self-doubt, and man, do I actually suck at filmmaking? Am I maybe just not cut out for this? Do I just not have the skill sets? And I think that that's probably pretty normal and something that a lot of us feel when we're taking on something really challenging that's going to take a whole lot of work to learn. And so, you're not alone. I'm feeling it right now. I'm definitely having those thoughts and those feelings about this. But what's great is I dive into the YouTube community and just different things on the internet. You can find lots of other filmmakers who talk about experiencing this same thing and talk about this same journey. What happens to me a lot of times is I start to feel that way, and then I start to fall into the trap of, well, if I had this gear or if I had that gear, and start to think, well, I need to spend a whole lot of money to improve my gear. And there's no doubt, having better gear and the right tools for the job definitely makes a difference, definitely helps. But it's not all there is to it. There's a skill part that you just can't buy your way out of. And I know that that's my hang up right now. I just have to learn how to use my camera and get the most out of it before I start thinking about upgrading to another much more expensive cinema camera. I know that better lights would probably make a big difference, but I don't feel that I'm really getting all that I should be getting out of the lights that I have right now. So I'm trying to learn how to use my space a little bit more. You'll notice this setup is a little bit different today. I'm trying to learn from some of the guys on YouTube, pick up a little depth. a little bit of a practical light in the back and some different things. I'm hoping that maybe it gives me a good look with just the tools that I have. So I think that that's kind of a good lesson to really reground and recenter myself. Parker Walbeck recently posted a video that I found really helpful, and I highly recommend you go check his channel out and look for this one. He gave a brand new filmmaker a $35,000 red camera setup, which is, every filmmaker would love to get to work with that, particularly new filmmakers, and gave him an assignment. And then he gave the same assignment to a much more experienced filmmaker, but gave him a DSLR. And then they compared the results. And not surprisingly, the brand new filmmaker with the very fancy camera setup, he got some pretty nice images and did a pretty nice job of editing it. You could clear he really put a lot of energy and work into it, and it looked nice. But then the much more experienced filmmaker with the really rudimentary DSLR camera, his just looked better. He had better shot composition, better framing, his focus was tighter, his color grading and the work that he did in editing and post looked much better, and it really popped. They made like a little boot commercial. You can go check it out. I highly recommend it. Watch it. But what it really solidified for me is you cannot buy your way out of this. You have to put in the hours. You have to go through the pain, have the weeks like this where you're frustrated and don't feel like you're making any progress. Fight your way through it, and you will learn, and you will get better. So what I'm really taking out of this week is, yeah, I probably do suck a little bit. But that's because I've only been doing this for about 3 months seriously. So that's my message for this week. Do the work, put in the hours, and you will get better. I'm Eric Ryan, and I really want to be a filmmaker.